All right, if you're a miner, you know that your payout model isn't just some setting you can set and forget. Nope, it's actually one of the biggest financial calls you're going to make. So today, we're going to break down the two heavyweights, PPS Plus and PPLNS. We'll give you a clear playbook so you can figure out which one is right for you and really max out those profits.
So let me ask you, are you feeling that profit squeeze? Because if you are definitely not alone. The network difficulty is just climbing and climbing. The hash rate is recovering, and that means margins are getting thinner than ever. In this kind of environment, every single decision you make really matters.
And look, just surviving isn't enough, right? We're in this for sustained profitability. And that means you need a smart, adaptive strategy. It all starts with one key concept.
So, how do you deal with all that chaos? Well, the answer is something called revenue smoothing. It's all about creating a steady, predictable income stream, even when the market is going wild.
This brings us right to our two main tools for getting that stability, PPS Plus and PPLNS. Now, both of them are designed to cut down on the variance and give you a more consistent payout, but you'll see they come at the problem from totally different angles. First up, we've got PPS Plus, or Pay Per Share Plus. And by the way, a share is just a piece of valid work that your mining rig submits to the pool. So you can think of PPS Plus as kind of like your salaried option. You submit valid shares, you get paid for every single one. It doesn't matter if your pool finds a block today, tomorrow, or next week. You get a guaranteed paycheck. It completely takes luck out of your revenue equation. And on the flip side, we have PPLNS, which stands for Pay Per Last End Shares. This one is much more like a commission-based job. You only get paid when the pool actually finds a block. Your payout is then based on how many shares you contributed in that little window right before the find. So here, your income is directly tied to how well the pool is doing, or as miners like to call it, it's luck. So this really gets to the heart of it, right? The core trade-off, consistency versus luck. With PPS Plus, the pool is basically taking on all the risk. They give you that guaranteed income, but in exchange, you're probably going to pay a higher fee. Makes sense. Now with PPLNS, you're in it together. You share in the risk, but you also share in the rewards. If your pool gets lucky and hits a hot streak, your payouts can be way, way higher. And the fees? Usually lower. It's that classic risk-reward dilemma. All right, so now for the million-dollar question. How do you actually make the call between these two? It's not about which one is just better overall. It's about which one is better for you right now based on what the market and the pools are doing. Let's get tactical here. This isn't about a gut feeling. It's got to be a data-driven decision. To really optimize your profitability in real time, you need to be tracking a few key things. Okay, think of this next part as your playbook. We're going to walk through a simple but really powerful checklist that pro miners and, more importantly, automated systems use to make this choice, moment by moment. Here are the three critical variables you need to watch. First, pool fees. In a market this tight, you got to ask yourself, is that higher fee for a stable PPS Plus pool actually worth it? Or is it just, quietly eating up your entire profit margin? Second, network latency. Oh man, this one is huge. A low latency connection is everything. I mean, you could be on the best pool in the world, but if your shares are getting rejected because they're a millisecond too late, it's all for nothing. And third, historical luck. This is the big one for PPLNS. You got to look at the data. Is the pool on a hot streak? Are they finding more blocks than they should be, statistically speaking? Because if they are, those PPLNS payouts could blow any standard PPS Plus rate right out of the water, at least for a while. Now, trying to manually track all of that across dozens of pools, that sounds exhausting, right? And that's because the pros don't do it by hand. They use auto-switching software. These tools are constantly analyzing the fees, the latency, the luck, and they automatically point your hash rate to whatever the most profitable pool and payout model is at any given moment. This is how you make optimization a constant automated process. And this level of optimization, well, it builds into a bigger pro-miner strategy. Because choosing a payout model isn't just a small technical tweak, it's a fundamental business decision that directly impacts whether you can even stay in the game. So at the end of the day, your choice has to line up with your specific financial situation. Do you have the cash on hand, the cash runway, to ride out the ups and downs of PPLNS? Or do you need the absolute certainty of PPS Plus so you don't hit those critical shutdown triggers? It all comes down to knowing your numbers. And this is a perfect example of one of those real-world operational triggers. It's a common rule of thumb. If your revenue drops below 105% of what you're paying for power, it's time to scale down. A predictable PPS plus model might keep you safely above that line, but a volatile PPLNS model could easily dip below it during an unlucky streak. Your payout choice directly determines how close you fly to this critical margin.
So in the end, whether you go with PPS Plus for its stability or you chase the upside with PPLNS, that decision has to serve one main goal: maximizing your effective share of the network issuance. That is, getting the biggest slice of all the new coins being created. That's the name of the game.
So I'll leave you with this question. Are you mining for today's luck or for tomorrow's profit? Your choice between the high-risk, high-reward of PPLNS and the stable, predictable income of PPS Plus really comes down to how you answer that. And the right answer, well, it isn't the same for everyone. It depends entirely on your strategy.